Shimoda, what a fantastic performance this has been. RJ, the wheels just starting to fall off. Australia win again at the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations.
Welcome to Title 24, presented by NBC Sports. Great little intro edit from MXoN. RV and I coming to you. I think we're both still torched from a long, hot, fun, across the board weekend. Before we get going, thank you Dunlop, Boxo, United Motorsports, Quadlock, and Cardo. We appreciate you guys all season long. Of course, we appreciate our great fans as well. And before we get into the United Motorsports moment of the week, RV, we were just talking before we went on air. I'm still a little faded, brother.
Yeah, man, it was a long weekend. For me, I was there for 6 days, but no, man, it's just I was telling my wife about it, and just anybody that asks, how is MXoN? And it's like, dude, as soon as you land there, yeah, when we go to a Supercross, we go to a motocross here in the States. Yeah, we see our people, but we have so many friends from the European side, and then you get obviously all the US side together, along with the fans. So pretty much from about 7:30 on till sun goes down, it's pretty much nonstop talking or meeting somebody, photos here or there. So it's a jam-packed week altogether for all of us that are involved in that weekend, just because it's such a historical weekend every year that MXoN comes around.
Yeah, I want to give you a shout out, dude. Like, I know we give each other a hard time and all that stuff, but dude, I'll tell you what, you worked your tail off this weekend. Like, everyone tuned in today to this podcast, you don't know, like, probably some people think we just are mailing it in, but this guy here, my partner, like, every morning he was up 7:30, answered the bell, doing his Yamaha Blue Crew obligations. I will tell you this. I think that whole program that you guys are a part of in the Blue Crew, I know it was a lot of work for you, DB, Johnny, and all you badass brand ambassadors. But dude, that is really cool. I think it's super beneficial of what they're doing. Before we get to United Motorsports moment of the week, explain to everybody like what you guys did and what it all entailed, because dude, it was long days, but I think for the better of the young riders coming up, it's an awesome program.
Yeah, so it's a very special thing, the Yamaha Super Finale, and the way you qualify for that, which obviously the end result is MXoN. This year, obviously Ironman. Next year, it's in Ernée. The previous year we brought over kids from the US to England. So we have like 4 or 5 qualifying rounds across the United States that we go throughout the year. And we pick about 5 riders. So we have some alternates inside of that box in case somebody can't go or something happens or gets hurt, however that ends up being. And then we bring a 65, 85, 125 rider to MXoN, and along with all the other countries. I believe we had in the 65, we had about 14 different countries involved from the 65 rider group, along with this 85 and 125. And they get to go race, their Yamahas on the biggest stage, in my opinion, the biggest stage of pro motocross, supercross period, to be a part of Motocross of Nations. They get to show their skills, their talents. And I think the best thing about it that I was telling somebody this weekend is I kind of knew about Motocross of Nations, not definitely on a 65 and probably not on an 85, but once I got older, we are breeding this younger generation and these younger kids to understand what the magnitude of being invited and what it means to go race for your country at Motocross of Nations. So Yamaha's done a great job, and we are doing a great job breeding that into these younger riders. So when they hit the big stage, like the Jett Lawrences, the Eli Tomacs, the RJ Hampshires, the Jay Coops, they are going to know about this event way before I ever did, and probably you also, RC. So I think we're in the future here. We're going to have some very patriotic racers when they turn pro.
100%. It's a killer thing that Yamaha and the Blue Crew does. And I will tell you again, mad respect, RV. I mean, it was long days. It was hot in the Midwest
It
this
was.
week, but we don't get to see each other much, the whole crew. And so we did have some long nights, but you had some long days, dude. You worked your tail off. So
I
mad
appreciate it. I
respect.
appreciate it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think we had about 70 total of like 70 riders, across the board, along with all the Yamaha personnel. So yeah, it's a big undertaking. But that event in general, from a 30,000 foot view is a massive undertaking with the amount of people that are there, security, the setup. It is like no other race. And I always enjoy going to that, and I'm looking forward to next year already.
Hell yeah. United Motorsports moment of the week. If you haven't, go to unitedmotorsports.com/title24, enter your email, get a $15 credit towards your first order. Then each week after you do that, you'll automatically be entered into a weekly drawing for $50 credit to your next order. United Motorsports is one of our original sponsors here at Title 24. We appreciate you guys being with us for 3 years now. That's fantastic. And it has to be the Motocross of Nations. We talked about it already, just how special that event was, and what I'd like everyone to understand or listen to what RV had just said there. And it's super important, I believe, especially for me, the generation before me, and then RV's generation, of how special that this race is. And we're watching here, and that was the parade there in Crawfordsville, the city of Crawfordsville. The mayor really got behind it. All the people in the city got behind this, rallied. It was an unbelievable turnout. The ingress, the egress, as far as the unsung heroes and the security. Everyone working their tail off to make sure that it goes smooth. It was absolutely an experience. It's a spectacle. I know we joked about it on the Racer X TV show, RV, but it's like trying to explain Vegas to someone. You can't. You just gotta see it to believe it. And it was special. There's a lot of fun things that you get to do. And but going back to what RV said, it's an honor to be able to race for your country. And I feel like that we kind of lost that, at least from the U.S. side, shortly around or after 9/11, for some unfortunate circumstances. And then it took a while to get back going. And then I finally feel that we are in a place where I think most riders and the best riders for the country want to race for the U.S. And I think that's important. And I think what you said, Ryan, and all of our listeners and viewers, it's important what Ryan said. And I do believe with what Ryan said about breeding these young kids to just see how special it is, and they're a part of it. So it was good. We got some fans questions here. Let's hear Alan Golf. RV, how many beers did you have and how many did you share with RC? Well, we didn't share beers, but we definitely, I'm going to speak up and say I had a lot for sure with my man. We had a whole bunch of group. We had a whole deal. I will tell you that first night when we got there and you and Bradshaw were having a good time. I love how y'all just take cracks at each other. It's so much fun, man. It is a blast. Remember, we're watching some video. We went on to the monster stage. Dude, I don't know how many people there. I guess it was a rave. I don't know how many people were there, but we had a lot of fun. I just tell you, I'll leave it at that. What do you think, RV?
Yeah, man, it's like, looking back at it and you see it like, it's just a blast. There's just so many people, the enthusiasm from the fans, it's a one-time year thing. So yeah, things get a little bit crazy. I think the way that the facility was set up and where we were, we're able to park, and Monster being involved and having, great security, like that's one thing that when you have an event like that, like security was on point, and like just it's like, it's a long 3-day festival is what it is. And yeah, we had a good time. We had a good group set up, Jeff Stanton, myself, you, Bradshaw, and a bunch of others too, that were all there. And man, it was, I'm looking forward to it again.
I think it might be a little bit different in Ernay. you know, but
It
it would
will
be
be.
it would be cool if we could have a fun little crew like that. So Luke Harris 98, how does it feel that RV has bragging rights over URC? He says you both, I'm assuming he said you both ripped MC Holeshot. Let's get into that. Dude,
Yeah.
the Holeshot King was a hell of a time. And I'll full disclosure, I came in fully underprepared. You kicked my tail. I need to work for the most part on a lot of things, but my technique,
that's the
my
best thing,
technique.
Ricky. That's the best part of, I think that, what MC has come up with. And I think Mike Bell also, this exhibition, call it, that's I'll call it that, or race, Holeshot Challenge race, underprepared or not, it's a blast to be able to get back on the bike. I bet we had 5,000 or more people just
Do you
for
think
that.
it was that many? I was wondering.
I don't know, man. Okay. I mean, I would say
Yeah.
it's 3,000 to 5,000 for sure around
Felt like it.
doing the Holeshot challenge. And the best part about it is I don't know how many DMs I get. And I know you get a ton also of like, man, or even somebody walking by, I wish you were out there, want to see you back on the track, and those days are long gone for me and you of racing at that high level of racing. But to have this Holeshot challenge, you can come off cold turkey and get on a motorcycle, swing your leg over a motorcycle. We're going straight. And I think the best part about it is the competitor comes out, and yourself, me, guys like Damon Bradshaw, Stanton. I mean, Wardy jumped on there. Chad was there, MC. And we all give it hell for, 15 seconds, let's call it. And the racer comes out in us. But we're able to do it cold turkey or not, putting in work or not putting in work. We have a chance at making it to the top. It's like me and RC, or me and you, we went 3 rounds because I won the first one, you won the second one, and then I barely squeaked out the win in the third one. And same thing with Chad. I think I won, Chad won, and then Chad got me on the last one. It's just a blast, and the fans that grew up watching us race, they get to see us back on a motorcycle, not doing anything special, but that's not the point of the event. That the special part and the point of the event is to get us all back underneath a one tent racing. But as I'll say it, more of the wakeboard, surfer, snowboarder, skater lifestyle of how we kind of all wished we could race Supercross. We know it's never going to be like that. You don't hate your competitor, but you're out there for blood to go and win. And this is a completely different scenario. We're glad to be out there racing with each other again.
I like how you just paralleled that with other sports, like other individual sports. You're exactly right. And I didn't think about that. Yeah. Whether it's like wakeboarding, skate, FMX, for example, like everyone is stoked if some dude goes out and just crushes a run. And I feel like this was exactly how it was. I will say this too. And it was so awesome to see the fans, like you talked about. There were so many, they were so amped, so positive. And what I liked about it also is as far as the competitiveness, but it was like cheap fun. Very difficult to get injured in a situation like that. So right there, it kind of takes the pressure off. And it was just, cheap fun. You explained it perfectly. I hope that we can continue to do this at certain events, more special events. I think that the reason this, in my opinion, this type of thing works, like this type of demo works, is because of the event in itself and being at Motocross of Nations. I don't know like how well it would work if you did it every single weekend or every couple weekends. I think it really depends on the event itself.
I think it does. And RC, I don't think it's a Supercross. I don't see how we implement it, maybe, but I don't see at this point, I don't see how we implement it into Supercross itself. But I totally see a Redbud, Friday night at a Redbud, or a Friday night at a Unadilla, maybe, because SMX is a longer weekend also. Maybe something like at an SMX, a couple a year, I think would be a blast. It just brings us all together.
Did you have there's a couple, so we had a question about scoop tires.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
Luke Natoli. Did anyone run the scoop tire? I think MC had one. I believe.
Yep.
Did Reedy have one?
I don't think he did. And that's the great thing about that event, once again, is underprepared or prepared or whatever you want to ride. Like, your bike was a box stock, right?
Yeah, the dealer brought mine.
Yeah,
I just
mine, same thing. Mine was our demo bikes that we ride at those Yamaha Blue Crew events that we qualify the amateur riders at. That's my bike that goes around the country for a motocross bike, and that's the thing, is it's a short enough start. And the way that MC has it set up, no starting devices, there is no testing. There is no things you need to do. Like you can get the win, you can get the whole shot based on just getting a good clutch release and keeping that front wheel down. And you don't need anything special. It can be a box stalker and you have a good chance at winning.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question, dude. You were when I was listening to you were distracting me. Do you hold the bike like wide open, the throttle wide open behind the gate? Cause like I'm listening to my bike and then I'm listening to you. I'm like, damn, dude, does he have the throttle wide open?
Was it before when the board went sideways, or before
like
that?
right before, like when the gate was about to drop? I'm like, this dude's gonna, did you have it wide open?
Nah,
Like,
it was a little over half throttle is where I typically start. I typically try to, if I had, plug it into a computer like old days, when racing, like I always tried to get my bike around 92 to 98, 9,600 RPM. And I think it's just a habit of going that high.
Dude, it must have been because I had like mine at like a quarter max, and I'm
Okay.
listening to yours, and you kept like I was listening to you instead of like completely focusing on the gate. I'm like, this dude's about to blow his engine up.
Clutches were getting hot.
All right, dude, let's turn the page. I don't think that there was you can speak for this if you want. Team Australia, hell of a job by Jett and Hunter. You would just have to assume. And I feel like if there's anywhere that shit can go down, it's the Motocross of Nations. As far as consistency goes, I just feel like there's a lot of angst and a lot of moving parts, whereas it's a little bit different, obviously, for certain reasons compared to a regular championship race. And but it was going to be out of pocket if they had a bad race, any of those two guys. What was your impressions on Australia, and where are you at with all of it?
Well, I think go back to Team USA. I think they gave it hell. Obviously, going into Motocross Nations, we losing Hayden and then losing Chase. Also, not to say it would have changed anything, because no matter how you slice it and whatever your team looks like for Motocross of Nations, you need a little lady luck on your side. And I think it's tough going up against a team like in Australia has it right now, with two of the top riders that were out there in MXoN and MX3. It's really tough. Those boys rode really well. Jett was typical, phenomenal. Also Hunter rode amazing Moto 3. In the open class. But then the best thing about Motocross of Nations is having like the Coonan brothers, the best of the business in the business from the European side. Roman Fevre just won the championship. Obviously, we tied with France. And if it wasn't for Eli's, I think, second in Moto 3, France would have ended up second, and we would have ended up third, because I think points were tied for France and USA. So a little bit of lady luck on every part of every team. The weak link for Australia was it not Waters.
The third one for
the 250. Yeah. Webster. Yeah. And I'm not saying weak link in a derogatory or negative way. Just he fell in the first turn. That lady luck, like I was just talking about, fell in the first turn in I think Moto 1. Yep. And then his Moto 2 for Webster didn't go as planned like he'd like to, right? He had to fight for it. So you only get that one drop moto. So that's what's so special about it is racing against all the Europeans. And did those, Kaida Wolf, every one of those teams and, riders from the other side of the world. It's a lot of fun to see it now. I didn't put enough emphasis on it. I didn't realize how cool the situation was when I was doing it. But now when I go back at my age now, it's like, dude, this is really something else to see.
Yeah, I tell you, it was cool to see Kunin and De Wolf and I've never really seen those guys race in person, but overall, and especially from my beginning days, RV, and then they started getting better. Like when you started racing Motocross of Nations, I want to give a shout out to the European riders, a lot of them, as far as, I mean, for sure, 120% their style and agility on the motorcycle. Is far more superior than what it was back before when I was racing. There's no doubt about it. They have definitely stepped their game up, and I feel like the Euro riders and the depth of how many of them are competitive they have raised the bar in that area. It was fun to see all the big names, and just watch them in person, like you talked, the Kunin brothers, Kai, and then Fabra. It was that, I mean, I wouldn't go out and say like they blew my socks off by any stretch, but they were damn good, and it was a lot of fun. And you talked about like Eli. I thought Eli did great. I thought J Coop did great. RJ, I mean, he came in banged up. I didn't know that until after the fact of the race. It was going to be tough regardless of how the boys did, just with how solid that Australia was. But still, I appreciate RJ. I think that, he might get some heat, because of him crashing or whatever, but just for him to rise up, go there. We're watching some video, the last moto where he hits, I don't know, might have been a TV prop or something like that, gnarly TV stand or whatever it was. Lucky, hopefully he didn't hurt himself any more than he was already injured. I know I'm rambling on, but he did a hell of a job. All of them did, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, RC. It's a tough position to be in a 3-rider format like that. Headed to, race against the best in the world, and having, like I say, got to have a little bit of that lady luck on your side. And the pressure that this race brings, right? Like that's the biggest thing is Supercross championship or a season here in the United States or in Europe, MXGP, you have a long period of time. You have lots of races to fix your mistakes or to get better. It's tough when you line up there at MXoN and you got three races. Each of you do 3 races and you have 1 drop out of that, right? So, you're basically left with 5 motos, I believe, correct? We drop a moto and you're left with 5 to accumulate your points from.
Yeah. Shed a little light on US. I was thinking about this yesterday, RV, but like, I mean, there was some speculation, talking about RJ and J Coop, but if you go and you look at their overall finishes in their respected class, well, take RJ out because he messed up the last lap or the last moto. But like J Coop, for example, I mean, Kai De Wolf, how gnarly he is. I mean, J Coop got 2nd overall in MX2, I believe. That's pretty sporty. And then you go and you look at Eli. I mean, hell, he got about the same and did as well as he did in the MX season, Pro Motocross Championship. So I feel like when you look at the numbers like that, like Eli did great and J Coop did great. Eli finished where he finished in the Pro Motocross Championship. What do you think was going to change from then until now?
Exactly. And then I'm assuming, I didn't get to look or to confirm this, but I'm only gathering by watching, knowing what happened. Our drop moto would have been RJ's last Moto 3, MX3 open class. That would have been the drop moto, I believe, because I believe he got,
totally.
Way back. So regardless of that, their positioning and where they raced, like they, that's kind of where, like, to your point of saying, J Coop, Eli and RJ, that's kind of where they were sitting throughout all of our season, Pro Motocross and Supercross. And we'd like to go there and win MXoN because it is the biggest stage. But once again, like I said, it takes a little bit of that lady luck and a mistake, lady luck for us, and a mistake on Australia's side. And they just didn't expose that mistake, or it wasn't a big enough mistake, put it that way.
Hey, on our rundown here, let's switch gears to the Boxo breakdown section. I haven't even had a chance to talk to you after the fact, but Boxo breakdown. I want to talk about some other guys, dude. I think Sushi crushed it on the 450, bro. Straight up. What do you think?
Yep. Joe, he rode really well. I was watching him. Fought really, like right now we're watching with our Eli Tomac and Joe, and Joe rode phenomenal. I saw some afterwards interviews, and he's like, man, that's a big boy to race against, that 450, 2 motos in Joe's position. There's not a lot of break, right? At Motocross of Nations. That's one of the special things about it, is you got to put 2 motos together very, very quickly, and solid ones. And as you guys can see, the ones that are going to watch on YouTube, or you watch the broadcast and you're listening now, the track was gnarly. The track was beat up, tough conditions to ride. And I thought Joe rode phenomenal. So I think if you're Honda, if you're Lars,
you're stoked.
Yeah. You're sitting sitting in the hot seat in a nice position to, have a guy like Joe move up when it is time, to move up to a 450. The problem is, RC, with Hunter and Jett being signed up as long as they're signed up, does Lars go out on a limb and have a 3-man 450 team, or is Joe going to be, moving on to another team, and some other team's going to be lucky to scoop him up for a 450 ride?
Dude, that is great. That is a great question. I think it'll all depend on when Hunter's deal is up, when Joe's deal is up. I know Joe, he's going to race 250 again, but what I think, like when I was watching him, selfishly, I put on my Triumph hat. I'm like, dude, I'd like to make a crack at him for the 450. When I was watching him ride that bike, how sometimes we talked a little bit about it with RJ throughout the Pro Motocross Championship, but some guys, when they go from 250 to 450, you can see they can't overpower the motorcycle, or the motorcycle is overriding them. I felt when I was watching Joe, other than the sound, dude, it looked like he was on his 250. It didn't. Did you like have a chance to notice that?
He rode it very, very similar. Yeah, you couldn't really tell what it was on other than listening to it, right? Like, the bike didn't ride him. He looked identical to riding his 250. Which is what you want. I know he hasn't had a ton of time on it, like, leading into this race. Obviously, we just got done with SMX not long ago, and then he jumps up and moves up to get some seat time on the 450. But man, I mean, in my eyes, he'll go down as one of the best Japanese riders in history, period.
Easily 100%. I think also, before I want to touch on Kenny, before we move on, I think that, dude, he just raised his 450 stock in a massive way. I think if, that's what I think. I think he could, how he performed, and assuming he could perform the same way in Supercross, because remember, that's the outlier here, especially if in the US. If he can perform the same way in Supercross, I think he could easily be the A guy at a 450 on a 450.
But see, I would go on the other side. I think agree with you is, I believed that he could ride a 450 on Supercross because of his style and how precise and smooth he is. It would be on the other side. Can he do the rough tracks? Can he run that pace with the big dogs up front on a 450 outdoors? Because I believe Joe's riding style, it's good for both. Don't get me wrong. But I would say he struggled more a little bit on the outdoor side than it was, in my opinion, than Supercross. So now that he just went out and had that performance on a 450 with not much seat time on it, outdoors, I go right with you with the stock raising for sure.
Yep. Hey, Kenny got hosed right off the bat. His race was over. Like, he even talked about it. I think I heard it on Swap Moto. He goes down in the first corner. Third corner, sorry. That's the first race, so it's game over. Luckily, he didn't hurt himself. And then he went down again in his next moto, and Yeah, tough weekend for Kenny, dude.
It was a tough weekend, especially, and I know it's just a qualifying race, but he rode really well Saturday in the qualifying race. He kept
behind Jett. Yeah,
he kept Jett honest for most. I know it was only 20 minutes. It's just a qualifying race, and you got to be very smart in that race, obviously. So maybe it wasn't Jett's all out performance, but Kenny rode very, very well, and coming off, and like I said, kept him honest for 22 minutes. So to go down in the third turn, call it third turn, and the same thing as in his moto too for him. It sucks for the rest of the team, like Germany, to have your top guy go down like that, because as you the race for the big picture, it's pretty much over at that point.
Yeah, it is. I hated that for Kenny,
and it really sucks, RC, to have your drop moto knowing after moto, knowing that there's 3 motos for it's a 3 moto format, but a 6 moto race for everybody. Everybody does 2 motos, and you get 6 and you drop 1, and then that your drop moto is moto 1.
Oh, I know. You had no more. Yeah, you
have no more wiggle
nothing.
room. You're backed into a corner. So that's one of the most critical things in MXoN, is making sure you get through at least the first 2 motos, and you can kind of see where the cards are starting to lay and fall. And then if you need to drop moto towards the end, you have your drop moto. But going into it in moto 1, and you're like, okay, there's our drop moto, or the moto we need to drop, and then your back's to the wall for the rest of them.
Hey, a couple questions. Got 2 questions before we go to the quad lock question of the week. Patrick Denning. Did we, USA, have a chance with Deegan and Chase? Do you think, let's role play. And I don't even think that we've had a chance to talk about this here on this podcast.
No.
Do you think, I hate talking about like speculating, dude. It just drives me nuts. Do you think we win if Deegs and Chase are there?
So I might get some hate from this. I think if we bring in,
hey, fire you. Who cares?
That's right. Fire me. I think if we bring in Hayden's strong. Hayden's a gamer. Hayden pulls through 9 times out of 10, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would have been, maybe a 1 or 2 position better, but like Jay Coop was as a whole in the 250 class, he was
second.
He got second. So there's that. And then I lump our MX3, which would have been RJ or Chase. The odds for them, I'm going to call it out. The odds for a mistake from either of them are very high in that position. Yes, RJ was a little banged up coming in, but regardless, made that in that third one was a very costly, pretty costly mistakes. I got to go out on a limb just because of track record and just because of what we've seen in the past. And then knowing the pressure that this race brings, I think your potential for a mistake from Chase was equal with RJ. So like I started the show off, that lady luck has to be a little on your side there, to win that race. So I don't think with the 3, if we would have switched out the 2 and we had Hayden and Chase, I think the cards probably fell where they would have fallen, where they fell currently.
I agree with you.
Maybe we would have been a little closer.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
but maybe I don't see the outcome changing drastically. I don't see us. The bottom line is Australia with that team had to have another. I mean, they got to drop their worst moto. They would have had to have a second moto that was not a favorable.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. It would have been closer. I will say that, but like you keep saying, and I agree with this, and I don't think people really look at it and taking it to account that this race, you need lady luck on your side more than any other race. I just think that there's so many people telling you what to do, so many people involved. Like I was around Team USA, and I'm sure you did, or I like walk kind of by where they were at and Parc Formé, and then after the race, dude, like there's so many people there. I didn't even know who 90% of the people were with USA team shirts on. And, and I've lived that. I'm sure you've lived that. It's just like people coming in and it's just different. So when you always talk about you need some luck and things happen, I feel like this race is so hard. If you could bet on this race, it would be so hard because there's so much inconsistency. And I feel like it's because there's so many people involved and so many people have a voice. And you're right. I think that we would have been better, but at the same time, it still would have been hard to beat Australia because they had two guys that went 1-2, right, in the Pro Motocross Championship, I believe. Didn't they went in SMX, they did. So,
Yep.
and then,
Well, regardless,
was,
Hunter won MX3 and Jett, like they both just didn't make many mistakes. And I know what it was, MX3. So Moto 3, Jett did go down at the top of the hill, but he made it back to third, I believe. In that by the end of the Moto. He did. Yeah. So that's those are hell of a performance.
All right. So there you go. Good question, Patrick. Yeah. I hate talking hypotheticals. It's so hard to tell. Good answer though. Next one, Smith MX 105. Your thoughts on DeWolf? Personally, I think he's not even on Deegan's level. I mean, I only got to watch him the 2 races, and it would have been fun. I'll just go out and say it would have been fun to see. I'm with you, RV, that I feel like 90% of the time, or even maybe 95% of the time, other than this year's SMX World Championship, I think Deegan rises to the occasion, and he's a gamer, and he friggin' finds a way to get it done. I think he could beat him. I think he would have beat him in this situation. I think he's just that guy. That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's I look. Kai's unreal on a motorcycle.
He is.
Some of the stuff he can do, and completely different riding styles, but also like human beings. Hayden's not tall. Kai's pretty tall. So you have completely 2 different opposite ends of the spectrums when it comes to the way they ride and what they do. But both have immense amount of talent. I think it would be a damn close race. And I think it all depends on kind of who woke up on the right side of the bed and also like kind of what track they're riding, right? Like I think put it this way, take Hayden, obviously we're in the US, Hayden's rode Ironman, Kai hasn't. So if Hayden beats him, I kind of expect that. Take Hayden to Europe, put him on a sand track, put him on something over there. I bet Kai beats him.
Yeah. So, that situation. Yeah.
So if you're just going down to straight up, okay, here, MXoN, I wouldn't use the word I expect Hayden to beat him. But I do know that Coonan brothers and the different riders that were out there and the size of Kai, he was able to work through and move through the pack, 450s or not. The dude was on rails. I would love to see it. I mean, I would love to see it. Maybe we'll get to see it one day. Yeah. The 2 of them go at it, but I don't know. That's a tough one to answer.
Yeah, it is tough. I do think you bring up a very valid point about, whether it's in the US or Europe, sand track. I mean, Kai, he's a great rider at all the tracks. Right. But I'm taking Deegan in a situation like this on home turf and just watching him, listening to him. I don't think that, honestly, I don't even think if Deegan were there, I think he's racing Jett and trying to beat Jett the whole time. The rivalry is already there. I don't think that Deegs gives a damn about anybody else on that racetrack other than kicking Jett's ass or trying to. Right. Yep. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
No.
And so when you
especially
have that
on the side of their storyboard, right? On their storyboard is if 250F beating a 450, MXoN plays into their hand very strong. So that would have been that would have been an amazing performance, right? And I think that I haven't heard him talk about it, but I know my performance at MXoN 2007, Bud's Creek Racing U.
It was legendary. You beat everybody. You dominated everybody. It was history. If you guys are at 2007 MXoN, do what you did. I'm gonna blow your dress up here. Is like, dude, you were a badass. And I don't think that what a lot of people don't realize sometimes is the position that you were put in and how you executed in that position. Like you took advantage of, okay, inside gate. RV, you're taking inside gate, you're under power. We'll the 450, we'll start outside. I am a big dude on give the 250s the biggest advantage, right? Right. And what did you do? You took the inside and you got the damn hole shot. You took advantage of this situation. Ain't many people that can do that, you know, and it takes somebody super, super special.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That.
Hey, RC sitting there. Hey, RV, we're sitting around. It's Timmy, me, you, and hey, Ryan, we're gonna give you the inside gate. Don't f it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
there's pressure that comes along with that, and that's where, I mean, outside of your incredible ride, the riding, you were phenomenal, but that kind of pressure, knowing like, okay, big dog, we're giving you the advantage here, and you gotta make do with it. And that's what's so cool about Motocross of Nations, in my opinion, is all the chips on the table and you can't mess up. So
yeah,
it would have been fun to see that. I want to do some cleaning up though all season long. And I was talking with a friend of mine. We were driving up to Nashville. I didn't even have this conversation with you, RV, but so, you know, a lot of people, like if we compliment, whether it's Jett, whether we compliment Deegan, but let's just use Deegan, for example. Everyone thinks like, I love the kid so much and everything like that. And so here's my take on Deegan, just to settle everything or any question marks that anyone has. What I appreciate and what I respect about him is when he rises to the occasion. He's done it majority of his career. And I know, just like you know, RV, how hard it is to do that. There's not a lot of riders that can do that can talk that much smack, put themselves, you know, in a corner basically where he has no friends on the track for the most part, and he still answers every majority of the time. It is so hard to do that. So hard to do it. It's hard to explain how to do it. And that's what I appreciate about it. I like what he does.
You're not advocating for him. You're
No.
what you just said.
No, it just gets lost in the sauce sometimes. And everyone's like, oh, dude, you're all up on him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, so that's all I'm doing is clarifying like what he does off the track and his personal time and how he talks smack and, you know, who he is, how he is and who he is. Like, I don't give a shit about that. Right. Like I'm not judging him for that. What I am praising him for is what he does really, really well. And you talked about it when we were comparing him to Kai, and you're like, he's a gamer 90% of the time. And that's what I appreciate about him. I don't agree with some of this stuff.
As an athlete, yeah. I mean, you don't exactly. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of people or athletes that you're like, you know what? I don't like him. I don't like what he does over here. But you know, I love what he produced over here. I love that movie, that film he made, or whatever. But yeah, I don't like him off camera. You know, that's kind of that's what it is. You don't have to. As an athlete and as a person that has, you know, worked his ass off to get in this position, no matter what, he ain't in this position because of Brian. He's in this position because of Brian. Don't get me wrong, but the kid wants to be there too and has put the work in. Brian can't make him do the work. He can't get as good as he is. None of us can if we personally don't execute what we need to do.
Yep. What he is doing, you just made me think of another thing that I was thinking that I wanted to say, and you're exactly right. How he puts the weight, he has got so much weight on his shoulders, and he put himself in that position. He backs it up 90% of the time, and it just doesn't happen because he gets lucky most of the time, and you got people think that he was born on third. He did have some good advantages, and it is what it is. He can't control that, but he works his butt off also. And that's what I appreciate about not just him, any great rider. And that's what, like, going back to what you did at Motocross of Nations in 2007, RV, you took that pressure. You're like, hey, you're starting on the inside. We knew you were our guy, and you went out there and you fricking executed when it counts. So I'm done. All you people, keyboard warriors that, like flame me and RV, that's where we're at with. Well, that's where I'm at with it. I think that's where you're at. All right, dude. Quad lock question of the week. Last one of the year. If you haven't, head over to quadlockcase.com. Incredible company, made great product, and been with us from day one here at Title 24. The winner this week is Tamara Riz, 81. If you could go back in the time and pick 3 racers at their peak for MXoN, who would it be?
Well, it's got to be me and you, right? Number. So we only have a third one.
Not even. I honestly not. I'm not picking me because I mean I went. No, listen. I went 6 times and I lost 3 times. Your record. You never lost.
Yeah.
So I'm picking you. I'm picking Wardy, I think.
Okay. Johnny O, maybe.
Yeah, well, Johnny O did something similar to what you did in Majora. I mean, I think that we were fortunate enough. It's so tough to put this team together. I think that we had so many good guys. It's just kind of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, take your pick. Like who? I mean, I could make a fair argument for all these guys.
Exactly. I mean, okay, you got me
later in my career. Yes, I think you take an old RC.
Yeah, but you got me, you, me, RC, Tomac, or me, Dunge, RC.
Yep.
Who else?
Bubs. You take Bubs.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, on his when he was on, right? Like,
yeah,
when James was on, the problem is with that race is as we know, like you have to execute both motos, and we can't have 2 drop motos. We only get 1. So having I think having a reliable, I think the teams that I were on, where myself and James and Ivan, and then it was myself, you and Timmy, two solid, and then one that's your third one is irreplaceable in a way, because they don't have to be the fastest, but they have to be the one that doesn't make many mistakes, that can pull through pretty much anything, fall in the first turn and come back, pushes through. I think that's a big one too. Having a solid, you got to have a solid third. But then you go back and you pick a lights rider, right, or a 250 rider, and typically they're young when you pick them. And that race brings a lot of pressure. So,
well, dude, what you just said there, a perfect example of that. Young rider. Remember when I was saying, I think this weekend on the Racetracks TV show, like, dude, I just wanted to be picked my first year, in 1997 for USA, and they didn't pick me. They picked Lammy. Why did they? And that was probably that was a better pick, RV, because there's no way I could have even though I won a championship, there's no way that I could have handled that pressure. I was too young mentally to be on the world stage like that. And I think that Raj made the right decision there. I think like Tamara, like I think like that, like for me, it's there's so many good guys. I need to like really sit down and
also different eras, man. Like it's crazy.
It's tough. I feel like it's an impossible question to answer.
And I think everybody in their time and in the current eras of they were all heavy hitters. And we could sit back and have the greatest bench race ever. Well, we'll take Wardy from
early 80s.
Yeah, exactly. 80s, and then RV and this and that, and it's great.
I'd take Damon. Shit.
Exactly. It's great. It's great. I guess beer drinking conversation and hypotheticals, right? But we all know that we can't go back that far. And put me, I wasn't even born when Wardy was racing those things.
I know. Dude, what year were you born again?
88.
Dude.
Yeah.
Damn, guy. All right. Well, congratulations, Tamara. You Tamar is sorry. Anyhow, congratulations, Quadlock. Appreciate everything that you do for us and everyone tuned in today. We're not done. We got the Dunlop debate, silly season. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. I could give 2 craps about the silly season, but I saw that Jett and them were running the scoop. So Scoop still hanging in there. But Dunlop debate, where you at? What are we hearing about Prado?
That's a big giant question mark. I haven't heard much. Obviously, we were busy doing a whole bunch of other things this weekend, and I don't think that was a big topic at this point with Motocross of Nations on everybody's mind.
He won't be on a Cowie, I know that.
It's going to be very interesting to see. The plan is, or the rumor is he's going to be departing Kawasaki. Where he ends up, we only can imagine. It's probably going to be back on an Austrian brand. I'm assuming that's KTM, being that's their premier brand for the Austrians here in the States. I think it's I don't.
Where are you at with El Hombre? He's back on a Suzuki.
I saw that. I just seen that. You know what? I think that was probably a much needed change. I think that's gonna
he could be a sleeper, by the way. He might be a sleeper, dude.
That's where I was just going. I think he could bring out some pretty good performances on there. But he's not going to be. He's not a championship guy at this point in his timing of his career and where he's at. At the ages and that the age he is now. But I think he can be running up front. I think him and Kenny will be a great. Having Kenny is a great asset, and vice versa for Kenny having Jason. Very similar, I think, mentalities in a lot of ways. Like to have fun, so I think that's cool. He's back on a Suzuki. Those boys over there. I think
great
Pipes.
job for the HEP team, dude. Pipes,
exactly, right? Yeah, Pipes. That's it's pretty
that.
Cool to see those boys starting up that team. I don't know call it only a few years ago, and some lady luck was on their side. They get Kenny, and boom, now they got that's what's happening. There's so many good riders still wanting to race. There's only so many factory spots available. So they end up with two amazing and two great marketable racers also.
Yeah. We already talked about a couple times. We talked about Sexton,
Cowie,
moving to Cowie, and then Tomac going to KTM. I said it.
I think that's the biggest one for me, man. Is
which one?
Is Eli going to KTM?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I wish that it could have worked out where he would have stayed where he was. I love the synergy that it seemed like he has there. I think when he left Cowie, it was under certain different circumstances for sure. I think there was like the relationship had soured and he needed a change. And I don't from the outside looking in, or I should say, I know a little bit on the inside. I think it's a great relationship. I just think it didn't work out for business reasons or what have you. I hope the best for Eli. But
that's it. That's a tough one, man. It's a little hard for. I sit back and look. I'm like, man, I know you want to keep racing. Obviously, he said it multiple times. He's like, man, I still enjoy it. I still love it. But that's a massive pill to swallow there, to go to a completely different manufacturer, right? Completely different design. As we all know, steel frame, aluminum frame. We've had this discussion. I think they're all good in different scenarios, different tracks, different conditions. Not saying the KTM anything is negative with it, but to take a guy that has never rode one of those motorcycles, and maybe he hits a home run with it, I don't know. But it's just taking a guy that has always rode a Japanese manufacturer, aluminum frame his entire career, and then to at his age, also 3 kids. His career is coming towards the end of it now. When is it happening? I don't know. I'm just saying, it's not like he has another 10 years and he's a young buck, right? If he's lucky, he's got, in my opinion, he's got another 3 good years if he goes that long. And I think that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, to make that change, does he get another year out of it? But I think that's a massive undertaking to learn the new team, learn the new bike, all inside of a 12-month window, and then have the same mentality of like, I'm going in to win.
Yeah. Barsha, Ferrandis, They're going to Ducati, I guess. That'd be cool to see. I think it's great that we have another manufacturer in the game. It'd be a lot of fun to see how they do. I think, I'm cautiously optimistic there. I think, like any team, I mean, I can speak from the Japanese side of things. Some years are better than others. Hopefully that they have somewhat of a good year getting in, dipping their toes into Supercross. I think they'll have some growing pains like most do. But it nevertheless, I don't really have any expectations for them. I'm just kind of excited to see how it's going to go for them. They got good riders, so I
Yeah,
hope they do.
I hope their expectations are. I mean, I know everybody sets their own goals and expectations fairly high. I think they should set them at lower the bar, have a lower bar than a higher bar,
I
especially for
agree.
the Supercross side, and get in and understand it, and try to make the changes that are needed when they're needed it quickly to make the not that I'm not saying the riders aren't happy. My point is when something gets exposed on the weekends of racing Supercross 17 rounds in basically 18 weekends, try to make quick decisions and get them fixed quickly, so that they can make good headway. I mean, I'd say it's at minimum 12 months to 24-month learning years
Mm-hmm.
of getting that bike ready for Supercross. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be, you've started on new chassis, even a
Yeah.
new chassis
Yeah.
that has been, that
Yeah.
and they've been doing it. Japanese Honda, for example, Suzuki, whatever it is, a new chassis.
Totally.
Man, you go through your growing pains doing just that alone, let
Yep.
alone a brand new motorcycle.
That's right. That's right. I go back to like Honda and '02. It was a newer generation. They had just switched from '01, and then they went to the '02 chassis. It had changed and they tweaked it, and it was a lot better. But like you were talking about, there's still growing pains, and we're like, oh man, we should really tweak on it over here. And then when I went to Suzuki and I was on their 450, that was their first aluminum frame chassis, and we learned a lot there. We had the production rule, whereas we didn't have any bikes in production, so we're able to tweak on things. So yeah, I agree with you. To be interesting, I'm with you. They need to set their realistic expectations is what
Yeah.
I would do as well, because the teams they're going with are pretty established. Hayden's going to be making his start on the 450. We talked about that. He's doing that in the Pro Motocross Championship. So I don't know. I would love to see him again race a 450 on a couple opposite coasts. We'll see what happens. Most of all, I hope that everybody makes it through the off season safe and sound. Exciting times. It was a hell of a year. Some surprises. Hard to see. It was gnarly seeing Jett go out first, but then coming back, rehabbing that ACL. And then, of course, Cooper Webb nabbing another Supercross championship. I mean, he's 3-time Supercross champ. That's pretty powerful. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. That's about it. This is our last podcast for the year. Everybody tuned in. RV and I were talking this weekend. RV has some views. I would like to ask our fans what they would like to see in the off season, since we're not doing any reviews or anything like that. We've been kind of floating around the idea like a long form pod for interviews. If there's people that you would like to see us talk to, speak with, send RV and I and Title 24 like some suggestions. And if you think that would be cool, and who would it be? Doesn't have to be in moto, like hell, I mean, I can sit here and think of a lot of people we could get on RV.
Yeah.
Don't you think? It'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I'm sure we can get a whole pile of them.
Yeah. That's it, man. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
it's been a solid year. Thank you to all you listeners, the ones that watch, view it, wherever you're getting your content from. Me and Ricky really enjoy doing this, and it's a lot of fun to be able to come on here and go through you guys' questions, just shoot the shit basically about the sport that we all love, and
that's right.
been around for our entire lives, and hopefully it's good content for you guys, and yeah, we'll be back here shortly.
That's right. That's right. So send us your requests on who you think we should have on. I'll go to the drawing board. Thank you. Also, I'll expand. Thank you to all the supporters for sticking with us these last 3 years. It's been a lot of fun. We've had tremendous amount of growth, especially this year. So thank you. It's something that RV and I like. You guys might not always agree on what we have to say and some of our opinions on certain riders, but you know, we have a lot of respect for all of these guys and what they do. And we know how hard it is to do what these guys are doing. And I feel like, especially from RV's standpoint and mine, not trying to like pat ourselves on the back, but we've done it at a high level and we know what it takes to win. And we've been around a lot of great people in the industry as well. And I think a lot of them would agree with us, what we have to say, and we don't try to sugarcoat it. So we hope that you guys value that. And again, we're appreciative for all of our partners, United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Boxo, Dunlop, Cardo. Thanks for enjoying the ride. And remember, you can check us out on Peacock. We're on demand there. And then Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page. And of course, all of the podcast applications, wherever you watch it. But thanks again from the bottom of our hearts, RV and I. We appreciate you guys and the production group. Aaron, Hector, thank you. JH, great job. We're still going to give you crap all the time. You know that. And that's it, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you when we have a special interview. Send your requests. Who you think we should talk to.
Love it.
See ya.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.